I've wanted to be a filmmaker and an actress since I was 15 years old. I started out by writing fan fiction and then slowly taught myself how to write screenplays. I've always been a bit of a nerd since I was a little girl. I've always been a fan of science fiction and fantasy. When I was 16, I wrote a sci-fi fantasy screenplay and I was really excited to share it with a friend. So I enthusiastically told him about the story. He said it was great, but then he turned to me and asked, "Who's gonna play the lead?" I'd written the story with myself in mind, so I said, well, me or any other black, dark-skinned actress. And he looked at me and he said, "I don't mean to rain on your parade, but no one's gonna pay money to see a black person in a sci-fi fantasy film. I mean, just look around." I was kind of vexed at the idea, but then I looked around at some of my favorite films and the most popular science fiction fantasy films, and he was right. None of them looked like me, not even close. That day something changed. The way in which I wrote stories changed. I started pushing my black characters to the sidelines, forcing them to take up space in the background. I started whitewashing my own imagination because everything around me was telling me that there was no space for stories like mine, so I changed them. I made sure that my main characters were as far away from me, a black, dark-skinned African girl, as possible. They changed so much, it got to the point where I barely recognized my own stories. I was convinced that no one would want to see our stories. No one would want to see mine, so long as they look like me. But then Black Panther came out. I remember when the first trailer came out and everyone was freaking out. We watched Black Panther on premiere day in Johannesburg, South Africa, and I have to say, it was the best cinematic experience of my life. I found myself talking to strangers, laughing and celebrating. It felt like we were part of the actual film and not just audience members. The room was so alive. People were laughing and shouting and yelling and celebrating at the screen. I'd never seen anything like it before. And then Black Panther made $1 billion at the box office, and I couldn't believe it. I was so excited, you would have thought I just won $1 billion. Like, I couldn't have been more excited and thrilled. I've never been more relieved and more thankful to have been proven wrong. Black Panther making $1 billion at the box office proved that there is space for our stories. Black Panther restored my faith in myself, in my people, in my history, in my tradition. It resurrected a part of me that was buried under social conditioning and a painful history and opinions of others. It restored a version of myself where I saw my life through my own eyes. Black Panther changed my life. I became almost obsessed with watching every single interview of the cast and crew members, seeing them talk about the film over and over again at different conferences, during different interviews. I'd often watch Chadwick Boseman talk about the character in the film with so much love and care, the level of specificity he brought to the role. Even in the little things like the accent of the character, T'Challa's philosophy, posture, attitude. He approached it with so much, almost reverence, almost as if he knew that he was changing the world. I've never met Chadwick Boseman. I've never even come close. But he changed my life. I think we underestimate the influence that someone can have over a person that they've never met, a person that they'll never meet. But he changed my life. And for that, I am eternally grateful. I just hope he knew how much he meant, how much he'll always mean.